Ever wanted to write and publish your own book to hold it in your own hand? I'm Mila Johansson from Pen to Published, and I coach writing and publishing. In fact, I helped Steve, Irma, and Olivia put together their book, Heart Notes, as an example of what I do. And I'm so excited to be an official sponsor for the Sing Your Heart Song Summit in July. Right now, you're going to experience a speaker spotlight series. There are so many valuable speakers for you to get to know before they do their presentation. Don't just watch, join the conversation in chat.
Welcome to the Sing Your Heart Song Speaker Spotlight Series. We are so delighted to showcase each and every one of our amazing presenters who will appear at the upcoming summit. Today's spotlight features Carol Ward. Carol Ward is a money mindset and business coach. She helps empower women so they can create their desired wealth by releasing their money blocks and using the right business strategies. Carol is certified as a CPA and Master NLP practitioner. She helps women look at their finances with confidence and clarity. For more information, please visit www.mindsense.com. Mark your calendars. Carol will be presenting on day 2 of our summit under the theme of Valuing Your Heart Song. Coach Carol Ward wants to remind you of this. You can change your money story. Good morning or good afternoon.
Good evening. Is good afternoon here, at least.
How are you today, Steph?
I am doing well. How about you, Olivia?
It's been sort of a frantic morning for me.
Tech demons have been working away on your side.
Yes, and it was a really good learning lesson. As a professional live streamer, it almost seems like, oh my gosh, why is this technical glitch happening now? But it was a great lesson, as I've learned from so many of our speakers on these spotlights, is that to really reflect and pause. Why is this happening? What does this mean? What is the lesson? What can I learn? What can I do in this situation, right? And I actually learned about compassion. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just have a little bit of compassion for technology, for the software application, for the tech developers. And, Restream was like totally supportive. Like I messaged him like, I'm not happy right now because I'm supposed to go live. I've got this event scheduled. And they're like, we're on it. Like we're escalating this. And it turns out it wasn't just my account, but, for all the users across the board, there is something with a third party server or something like that. And I have a little bit of a tech background from, recruiting. So I could totally understand and imagine this playing out when they told me that there was an error message that was in the back end and they caught it in time and it was a third party error. They disabled the service. And I just marvel too, because how Restream works, being able to connect us on so many different platforms that they have to talk to one another, right? These little codes.
Yes. Up to 30 different channels, isn't it?
Yes, like 30 plus channels, 30 social media platforms. Yes, there's that many. But
I can't begin to name that many.
So it taught me just a little bit of compassion. Like, you know what? Like, okay, like I can appreciate what they're doing to jump on this bug and fixing it and keeping me informed. And I think I'm a little bit more nosy than most other users. Like, tell me what's going on. What's the technical term here? But they were able to respond and get back to me. So I appreciate that. So big shout out to the Restream Superheroes team. And then just, compassion from my co-host, compassion from the speakers. I was like, I'm so sorry we're so delayed, but they were flexible enough to say, you know what, I can stay on. Just let me know when you're available. So it was a big lesson of compassion today.
That's awesome. And I love
Yeah.
that you're holding that energy there, because you could easily be totally frustrated and angry and wrapped up in that. So for you to be experiencing compassion, not only from others, but for yourself, and for the fact that you just gave a shout out to Restream, even though it was through Restream that you were having the frustration that you had, even though it wasn't their fault. But so kudos to you for creating that space and continuing to push forward in a positive way.
Right? That's a loyal customer right there, Restream.
I want a discount.
Seriously. And the other thing I learned too is that, how quickly my response was to go make a post. Because I had 30, 40 minutes to myself, and I'm like, okay, let me go make a post about it. And so I posted about it, and it actually opened up solutions for me. I'm like, you know what, like maybe I need to consider like a hybrid model of like live streaming and pre-recordings. So more to come on that, but I am considering a pre-recording strategy as well, and not just the live streaming component.
Well, you've actually done some pre-recorded already, right?
But actually making that a whole like separate business, like
oh wow.
Yeah, looking into the advantages and benefits of pre-recording, etc. So at least something else came out of that too, So I have a new business funnel in my mind. But anyway, I am so excited. Thank you for just letting me like rant about my technology challenge today. And I'm so excited for our, guest today that's coming on for the Speaker Spotlight, Carol Ward. I met Carol through the pandemic networking events, and she's just been someone I really, truly love to follow because she has excellent tips, not only as a business coach, money mindset coach, but as an NLP practitioner. And so I think in learning from her, right, to reframe these situations, writing a new story. And so that's what she's going to help us do today around the richness and abundance and valuing our heart song, how we can reframe those stories. So without further ado, we are going to bring on Carol Ward. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Welcome, Carol.
Hello. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Carol.
Hi, Olivia. Thank you both so much for having me on here. I really, really appreciate this.
It's
totally
our
a pleasure.
Yeah, and you're new to our summit, so we're thrilled to initiate you into the Senior Hearthstone community.
Yeah, I'm excited. Really excited to be part of this community.
By the way, you passed the technology hazing this morning, so
yeah. The first rule of initiation for our summit is to be flexible and to go with the flow. So if you are not at all flexible, you're not a good fit. But thank you so much for just hanging in there.
Anytime. My husband is IT, so I see it all the time. And as Olivia my go-to is David. So absolutely no worries.
Well, it's so funny because you're new to Restream as well. And you're like, Olivia, I got on by myself. And then you didn't have your audio connect. And I walk you through that. And you're like, I figured out by myself. And I was so proud of you.
Yay. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, you know what? This morning has just been a morning packed with learning experiences. And why not? Right? Why not? Just learn. This is what life is about. If we open ourselves to learn, things land quickly because we're ready to receive.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that makes for a great story is it's not the same old, that there's learning throughout the journey, that who we are or where we are in the beginning of the story isn't the same as where we are at the end of the story.
Yeah. So true. It is. And our lives have changed from when we woke up this morning to where we are right now, right?
So true. So tell me, Olivia, or not Olivia, Carol, um, you are bringing some of my favorite things into the work that you do, and that is story, money, and mindset. And each one of them could be totally separate, independent uh, areas, but you have found a way to integrate them in order to create something even better. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So my background is I'm a numbers girl. I'm a CPA. And when I was a little kid at school, I love numbers. So automatically I got into accounting and became a CPA and loved it. I was a controller for many, many years. And I love that part of my work life. But when I had my kids, I made the decision I was going to stay home and I paused. I put my career on hold for a little bit, always with the intention that I would return. But I wanted that experience of taking care of my kids. I can have those memories. Now, I always had a part-time accounting business on the side because I wanted to keep my head in the game. And when my kids got into high school, I said, okay, now it's my time. And I returned to the business world as a full-time entrepreneur. I got myself into networking events. I got a marketing coach, and my business did really well. Now, this was in 2017. And while I was away, I had changed, but so had the world. The world
Mm.
had changed. What was once considered woo woo, like listening to your inner voice, taking care of self care, all those things once woo woo, were now becoming more accepted. And when I returned, I was so intrigued because I love that sort of information. And that was one of the reasons why I found out more about NLP. And it was like a call in. I was at the Markham Fair, which we have here in Ontario. And one of the ladies at the booth was talking about NLP. And I said, yeah, I'm going to check it out. I checked it out, talked to the practitioner. And next thing I know, I was enrolled in her class. I showed up in September all ready to go. When I first entered that classroom, it was like I always say to my mentor, it was waiting for me.
Mm.
It was a recognition. I got in there and right away, and maybe because I was open to learning, everything landed really quickly. I started to use some of the tools, and in some instances, I saw immediate results. So I just loved it. And I went on to become a master NLP practitioner. Now, when I was done, I said, okay, so what am I going to do with this? I still love numbers and I still had my accounting business. I'm now an NLP master practitioner, and I totally believe that we are healers. We are our own self healers. And I love the concept that our beliefs are what lead our thoughts, and what we focus on, that's what we bring about in our lives. So I knew I had to find a way to bring it together. And so while I was winding down my accounting business, I was opening my money mindset coaching business. And now I have the pleasure of working with my clients as a money mindset coach. And I am loving it because just as we learn today from each other, we learn empathy, compassion, patience, resilience, persistence, because Olivia went on and she tried and tried until we got on here, and I was right there with her waiting for her. Um, I think this is what I learn when I am with my clients one on one or in my money bootcamp program. So, as I mentioned earlier, life is all about learning every step of the way. We are teachers, we are students, teachers and students, but lifelong students. And it's something for me really interesting. That's what makes makes life so interesting. I'm always curious to know what next am I going to learn.
Mm.
So, Steph, in a nutshell, that's how I was able to put together my numbers mind and my emotional mind
Mm.
together and
Yes.
become the money mindset
And the
coach.
two can be harmonious, so they don't have to be conflicting and antagonistic to one another.
No, I find that, as you said, you could work really hard and not get results,
Mm,
right? Or to me, once we understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, understand the outcome, like what is a budget going to help you with? If I'm just going to say, learn this budget, you may have some resistance because you don't even know why, or we didn't spend time developing why do you want to do it? How do you see yourself after this budget is prepared? What is
mm,
it helping you with?
mm.
And
Yes.
once you can get that picture in your head, like this is what the budget is going to help me with. It's going to help me cut my expenses so then I can go on my dream trip to Hawaii. But unless I have that budget in place, I may not know how much expenses I'm spending on grocery and clothing. But once I have those numbers and I can visually see it and make a choice to say, you know what, I'm going to have a little bit of less spending on my food bill or my coffee bill and take that savings and put it towards my travel, and I can see that, then you start to appreciate what that budget is doing for you.
Yes.
I
I go ahead, Olivia.
let Steph finish your thought.
One of the things that I really appreciate about the numbers, I talk about the narrative and the numerical side of our story, right? That most of the time when we think about story, we think in terms of narrative. But the numerical, one of the things that the numerical does for our story is it helps us to see, how close am I to that trip to Hawaii, or, how am I doing with my expenses or my income or whatever. It gives context and structure and measurement to our story so we can see if we're on track or not.
Yeah, and it's so true. And staff, I think learning by stories is so important. So when I was in the NLP, both the practitioner and the master practitioner, my mentor used a lot of stories to teach us like all the different types of tools. And we were intrigued. We were sitting there listening to a story. And then she goes, and that's the lesson. And those are the tools I would like you to use. So while we were listening and we were attentively listening, had our listening ears on, the story crept in because we were interested, we were intrigued to hear that story. So storytelling is a wonderful way to impart message and lessons to other people. So definitely, and if we can use the storytelling with the numbers, I think it's even more powerful.
Mm, yes.
So I love one of your most recent posts here on LinkedIn where you talked about the language we're using around money. Could you touch upon that a little bit?
Yeah, so that's something that I posted yesterday. So last week I came on and I said, in this economical times with rising prices for essentials expenses, like for food price, you go to the grocery store, and I don't know about you guys, but I am paying more for less, right? And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Same with gas prices, clothing, most of our essential needs, the prices have gone up. In some cases, our income hasn't increased to reflect that massive income in expensive. And so I put out the question, how are we dealing with that? And so I got some resistance. And so yesterday I spoke to that. I said, whenever a change is proposed, our normal reaction to that and is some sort of resistance, and it's natural. And I said, like, no worries, because that is to be expected. Who wants to change their comfortable way of doing something unless they understand why they're changing? So one of the words I find that is really limited is the word can't.
Mm,
When I use that word can't, I put myself in a box, I closed the lid, and I said bye bye to that. It's done, over. When I use a different question, how else can I get this done? What else do I need to do? So, if let's take my food bill. If someone said to me, Carol, I think you got to cut your food bill down. You were 250 and now you're 300, not happening. You have to cut your food bill. And my normal response will be, but how can I? Food prices went up. What am I supposed to do? That's our normal response, right? So here's what I'm proposing. Instead of saying that, say, let me see what I can do. And maybe I can take $10 off every week and bring it back to 250, one step at a time. Rather than going from where you are right away to your goal, let's take the baby steps. So maybe take $10 off. Let's see what I can do. But unless I have that open mind and I say, no way, I can't cut $50 off, I'm shutting myself away. So think of different options, different ways. And one thing I always say to my customers, because yes, I always come back to money. I say to my customers, when a client that owes you money say, I'm sorry, my business is not doing well, I don't have the funds to pay you, show some empathy, because we're all business owners, and say, you know what, I understand. But how about if we put together a payment plan? And instead, you can just pay me over so many months, a small amount. What can you afford? And so now you're in a discussion, and there's a possibility you may get paid, if not all, at least some of it. So rather than close the door, let's see what discussions and carry on that discussions, because we know once we're open to discussing something, new ideas come in, new options, new acceptance come in. So that's where my can't was all about yesterday.
I love that too. And when you phrase the question, when you ask things like the how else and let me see what I can do, it kind of brings a certain energy to it too, right? It opens up that
Yes,
energy possibility.
yes, it
So just even the way
definitely
you
do.
say it.
One of the things that I found fascinating in a from this perspective, back in 2008, when we had the Great Recession going on, is how creative we became in dealing with the change in finances, right? That there was less income, the expenses were not where we would like them to be, and we found ways to be more, to do more with less, and to be creative with things like salaries. Instead of laying bunches of people off, we all took a small pay cut so that we could keep people on. And it didn't, I mean, nobody wants to have a pay cut, but we were able to be in it together, and just by working creatively and looking, well, what can we do, how can we improve the situation? Whereas when we say, I just can't live with this, or we can't continue in business, it's just like dealing with the challenges of the Restream today. It's like things are not working the way that we expected, so how else can we move around? How do we navigate this when the normal path that we've been taking isn't working in the way that we expect? And there's always a way to navigate, to get around the challenges that we have. And oftentimes those challenges help us to actually be in a better place than we were before the challenge arose.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And to what you just said, Steph, it shows if you're a team player as well. Because if you're in a company and that company is not doing well, and the company sent out a memo, hey guys, we're not doing that great. Cash flow is a little bit low. How about if we all take a 5% pay cut? Who's a team player? And it will show who has loyalty to your company and who is a team player and who is willing to sacrifice. And I went through a similar where I was the controller for a company and the company didn't have enough funds. So I went through that. I was the one that sent out the memo saying, hey guys, we don't have enough cash to cover your pay. Are you willing to take a paycheck cut? Just for a phase, not forever, just until the company turn around. And we had some people that left who said, no, I can't. I've got a family. And we had to respect that. If they have obligations, we also have to respect that. So, yes, but it will show you different, as you said, different ways of how to deal with the situation just by asking the questions. And one thing I will be coming on later, either this week or next week, to say about the income, different ways of increasing our income. There's a part-time hustle you can do out there as well. And now is the time, because when we went through COVID, how many people changed their careers? Because they were shut out from their workplace and they had to do something else because they had to bring funds in. So they became really creative. And quite a few of my friends said, you know what? I changed my career because I had to do something else. I had to quickly get on the ball. I jumped in and I did something else. So now is also the time to see how else can you bring in income. And I did just that. I jumped on as well because I got to follow in my own teachings. And I am telling my clients, let's find multiple ways of bringing in income. So I jumped onto an MLM And I know 2 weeks ago, I said, you know what, MLM, there's good and bad, just like there's organizations that are good and bad. You have to do your research and just, we need to have additional, well, at least some of us do because expenses are going higher. So what are some of our options? So decreasing your expenses or increasing your income. Those are the two ways of that.
And
Absolutely.
I was one of those people that like totally shifted my entire life because of the pandemic.
There you go.
It was, there's just something like bursting at me. I was like, oh my gosh, like I wanted to take advantage of opportunities that were presenting, networking opportunities. That's how even you and I met. And
Yes.
forever grateful. Talk a little bit about Fem City, because I know you're a big participant of Fem City and you love it so much. So talk a little bit about your club and what's it like to be involved.
So I am a member of Fem City. It is a women's group, and we just had one of our meetings. It's a women group that is supportive. We have a lot of positivity and gratitude and uplifting each other. So I am a global member. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Olivia. I am a global member where I teach classrooms. So I teach about money mindset. I sit on panels there as well. I also lead one of the collectives here in Richmond, which is Richmond Hill in Ontario. So that's a group of ladies, 25 ladies. That's our maximum. And right now, because of COVID, we went down a little bit, but we've got to get back up to speed. But it is fantastic. It's like an accountability group where we get together once a month and we just help each other. We have speakers that come in and speak ever so often. And it's just a great accountability where we help each other to see where you may have a problem and using our expertise. So think of all the ladies that are sitting there with all their expertise in all these different ways. And yesterday I was saying, you know what I need? I need a marketing person to help me. Like I need to get some marketing. And one of the ladies said, yeah, we should be using this other girl. So I said, fantastic, good reference. So Fem City, especially during COVID, was really helpful for me because the founder, Vala Gala, she came out almost every day because she realized we're stuck at home, we're isolated, we needed to have a little contact with the outside world through Zoom. So she had something going on every single day while we were locked down. Now things are out and about, so it has she has pulled back, but it's a fantastic community to belong to. I love it. I am a global member and I love and she's always looking for ways to help us, the leaders, as well, so that we can also have success in our own business.
Excellent. So if you're interested in learning more about Fem City and being part of that networking and women's business group, reach out to Carol. You can find her on LinkedIn. Send her a message and check out. You're in Richmond, Canada.
Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Richmond
But
Hill.
it's really big in the States, right? Because it originated from Miami.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yes, it is extremely big in the States. Then it came over to Canada, and it's also big in Canada as well, but even bigger in the States.
Awesome. So yeah, so be willing to check out these virtual meetings and see who else you may connect with. I do want to bring our attention to our chat. So Irma is joining us right now, and she's joining in the money conversation. And she says one of the things she did was getting rid of credit cards.
Yay, Irma. I call those credit cards magical in two ways. It can help you build a great credit score, but it can also build on the other side debt. So I always say to my clients, be really careful with credit cards. And so what I say to my clients as well, if you've got teenagers who are now getting credit cards, be even more careful. Like talk to them about money. Tell them what can happen because some of them don't have the experience. They got this little credit card and they just go swipe and now it's not even putting in any passwords or anything. It's just a quick swipe. And you've got this product or service, but at the end of the day, when it's time to pay, do they have the funds to pay for it? And sometimes teenagers who are now getting credit cards are finding themselves in troubles. And that goes to us adults as well, because it's so easy to go into the store or online and just flash that credit card and build up the credit without realizing or forgetting, not remembering, that bill will come in and we have to deal with that bill when it comes in. And especially now when the cost of borrowing is increasing, interest rates are rising. So when we look at our credit outstanding balance, do we have the necessary funds to pay for it? Because don't forget, the longer it's on there, you are paying a higher interest on it and it adds up. So this is where, in my money boot camp, ladies and gentlemen, we look at our financial statements weekly and monthly. We look to see, where are you spending? How much are you spending? We look at your debt to see what sort of debt you have outstanding. And how can you minimize that debt and get it to zero and turn it around from red to green and start your savings? And so it's really, really important that you keep an eye, because with credit cards, what is magical, it can lead you down um, a really deep path downwards rather than upwards. So, and there's nothing wrong with it. Because, as I said, on the positive side, it is fantastic way of building your credit score if you make your payments on time. Pay off before everything is due, and you got a really good credit score. It helps with that. But on the downside, just watch it. Make sure that you're on top of it. Great question. Thank you, Irma.
You bring up a good point, Carol, in that, one of the things that we can really, when I remember getting my first credit cards when I was, I don't know, 19, 20, whatever, thereabouts. And, here's this card that I can go buy whatever I want with it. And, it's kind of a carte blanche. And my parents never taught me about credit cards or anything. And I had to learn, as I do with many things in my life, the hard way, about, oh my gosh, I bought all this stuff, and now I've actually, not only do I have all the stuff that I bought, but I also have to make these payments in order to pay for all the stuff that I bought. And it was a hard lesson to learn, that in some ways I'm still relearning, because I think there's always, just like other things, like your emotional intelligence quotient, your social intelligence quotient, your financial intelligence quotient is something that you can always be working on in order to get into a better place. And it takes effort, it takes consciousness and awareness and integrity, or what am I looking for? Intentionality.
Yeah, it really does. And this is why I say, at a very early age, if you can start talking about money with your children, and this is something I did when my children was little. I got them savings jar and spending jar. So when they got their birthday money, and also I had a charity jar. When they got their birthday money or their Christmas money, I said, split it up. How much you want to spend, how much you want to save. So I planted the seed at an early age that they have to manage their money. It's because one day they will become adults and it's their responsibility to manage money and just to have that awareness. And so as you talk about money and you're open with it and it's no longer a taboo subject and kids are free to talk about money, Steph, when you run into that problem going, oh my God, I bought all this stuff, how am I going to pay for it? It now allows you to have a conversation with your parents to go say, hey, mom, dad, I messed up. What can we do together? Rather than saying, ooh, I got to keep that away from my parents because they're going to be so upset with me. It just opened the doors for discussion if you have an open mind when it comes to money. And that's one thing I always say to my clients is make sure from an early age you talk about money with your kids. And another thing I do, what I say to my clients is, you know, if you're a couple and you're thinking you're going to start living together, please have that money chat, because so many times divorce and separation happens because of money. You could be a spender and the other one could be a saver. And at first you're all excited, hey, he's spending on me, and oh, she's saving, and you're in love and everything, and you get together. And then you start to live together. And then after a while, the spender will keep on spending, the saver saying, okay, what's going on here? Right? He's spending too much and I'm not saving enough. And a spender will say, Why are you saving so much? You got to start enjoying life. What is life all about, right? And then all of a sudden, you're each at a corner. So, what I say to my clients at any time, even if you're married or just as a couple, as you're getting together or together, get together at the table and sit. We all came from different parents. We all have different perspectives when it comes to money and beliefs. We all spend differently. Put it on the table. Have a compromise. Some will have to go and some can remain with a compromise. But have the discussion so you can set the expectations.
I think that's really wise. One of the things that my wife and I do, and it took, we've been going next in August, we'll be have been married 29 years. So we've been doing this for a while. But one of the things that my wife prevailed upon me to do, and I eventually agreed, was that we would meet weekly and have a couple council and just kind of talk about, where are we doing with our areas of wellness. Um, and there are 8 different areas of wellness, but one of those is financial, and we can talk about, okay, well, what are our pluses, what are our challenges, and what are we looking forward to, from this point on. And just having that open conversation, being able to share, okay, yeah, we're dealing with some debt right now, or we're dealing with some health issues in the family, or there's some things we need to take care of around the house, or whatever. But just having that open dialogue, makes for that. After 29 years, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people whose relationship isn't what it was in the beginning, and for us, it's actually even far better than it. I mean, it just keeps getting better. Our marriage is not on a slow downward slope. It's on a steady incline, and it's a great experience to have that relationship, that communication that uh, helps us to be in a better place.
That's amazing to have that engagement, and it's the engagement with each other that is definitely, that's wonderful because you find, after kids and kids go to university, then parents are saying, what do we have anything in common, right? But having this constant like conversation ongoing, and each one of you are aware of anything new or what's going on with the other, it just bring you closer to each other. So thank you so much for sharing that, Chef. Steph, I will, yeah, that is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's marriage can be a wonderful institution, a wonderful relationship, but it does take work, and
Yes.
uh, I mean, we've been gone through some really, really challenging moments in our marriage individually, and there were moments when our marriage was on the rocks, but most of the challenges that we have faced as a married couple have been each of us dealing with our own individual challenges, and to have that support that's right there to help us along the way. And getting back to the summit, that's one of kind of my vision for the summit, bringing all these people together in order to share and to let people know that they're not alone, that we have the ability to face the difficult moments in our life, and we have the opportunities to pursue things that really speak to our hearts. It's again, I always like going back to the balance sheet. You got your assets and you got your liabilities. They're both there, but and when we appropriately address them, then we can get into a better balance than we were before.
Of course. And as I keep saying from the very beginning, life is one long lesson of learning, right? So as we go along, it's a beautiful journey if we open ourselves to keep learning. And that's something I am promising myself. I read a lot of books. I just love learning things and being part of something like this, because every day you're learning different things.
Absolutely.
So I hope all of you are enjoying this conversation and want to learn more about Carol and all the amazing coaching that she provides. We're so excited for your talk that's coming up in July. And I also want to, mention your podcast, right? You have a Money Matter show every second Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So where can we follow you for that Money Matters show, and what kind of topics are you addressing on that show?
So I was part of the Breakthrough Show. I am no longer, just had my last one on the Breakthrough.
Oh, okay. So where
But
can we
thank you
get?
so much for noticing that. I do have my IG live that I do every Tuesday at 5 p.m.
Okay.
That's where I interview people. So I entered that because I wanted to start coming on like I did yesterday with LinkedIn, and start just giving more. And then it will lead very soon to me doing interviews as well. But for now, I just want to come on and share my whatever is happening to me that day, that I think I want to share, some accounting, some money mindset, some coaching. Yeah, but thank you so much for bringing that up, Olivia.
Well, is there like a library or a capsule or an archive of the Money Matters that we can look into? Where can we find that?
Well, Money Matters with Carol, that's my personal Facebook group, and anyone is welcome to join. It's a group, and just yeah, Money Matters with Carol, and I do share some findings there as well, and some coaching there as well. I'm on, as I said, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. I did it yesterday, so I'm not on today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But if you wanted to see the breakthrough, I did 3, and it's on YouTube under the Breakthrough Show.
Well, just send Carol a message. Send Carol a message. Find her on Facebook, and she will get you connected to all those amazing resources. And I think just being visible, like sharing your knowledge with these bite-sized tips, because money is a very complex energy topic. It's a hot button, and for you to kind of simply just break it down into these tangible ideas that we can practice with, I think is really, really helpful for people.
Thank you. I'm so glad you saw it, listened to it. It really, it's nice to know it's landing somewhere. So thank you, Olivia, for that.
Yeah, I follow you on LinkedIn all the time. That's where
Oh,
I'll get
good.
some tips from you. So indeed. And I get to wear my favorite earrings today. I don't know if you can see them, but these are my favorite earrings.
Yes.
And
They're
because
pretty.
I like the sound of money, so I'm always looking for things that ring or have that tinkling sound. And so these are like my silver coins.
Oh,
Earrings.
nice. I love it.
Cool.
I like the sound of money.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming in. Yeah,
Right, like this.
definitely. And they are very pretty too.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carol. So as we close this out today, what is the one Coach Carol takeaway that you want to leave for audience?
Well, this is my quote, and this is what I believe. I believe. So I believe we are the creators of our own journey. We may get distracted along the way, and by listening to our inner voice, we are led home.
Mm. Mm.
So that's my quote, and that's the quote I use for my book project, because I really believe we have everything within us. It's just whenever we are ready to shed our light on it that we see it, and we are led on our journey home.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you both very much for giving me this opportunity. This has been amazing. I always love talking about money and mindset. So today has been amazing. You guys have been wonderful, allowing me to go on and on. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely a pleasure, and thank you for sharing everything. I'm when I left corporate, I wanted nothing to do with money and nothing to do with numbers for quite a while, and within the last year or two, I've really started to, as evidenced in our Heart Notes anthology, um, changing that relationship. And so it's awesome to have conversations with people like you to elevate the relationship, to bring out our gold, bring out the things that are really precious and valuable to us. And that money can be this amazing, wonderful thing, like with Olivia's earrings. I'm a little jealous because I haven't worn an earring in forever, and I don't think I'd ever pull that off. But But I love that idea of just having that kind of reminder of the value of money and what it can do for us, rather than the challenges that can come around the area of money.
Yeah, thank you. My goal for myself and for my clients is for us to have a happy relationship with money. Arigato. So that's what that's my goal.
That's
That's so
excellent.
beautiful. So, if you would like to have a happier relationship with money, please get in touch with Carol. Look into her money workshop, money boot camp.
I have a money boot camp. Yes.
So, Money Bootcamp, you can find all the details here on Carol's website, mindsons.com. Please connect with her on LinkedIn. Her posts are amazing. Her videos are amazing. So, you can just follow her on LinkedIn and get some money wisdom your way. And of course, connect with her on Facebook, send her a message, and ask her to be part of that, Facebook group that she does, so that when she goes live, you'll be notified. And if you're interested in getting invited to a FemCity meeting, talk to Carol. So talk to Carol, look into FemCity and that organization if you're looking for a new networking group to be a part of. So this has been such a delightful conversation with you, Carol. Thank you so much.
And thank you. Thank you both so much, Steph and Olivia, for having me here. And I'll be seeing you guys soon.
Excellent.
Very soon, yes. The way we'll be live at the Sing Your Heart Song Summit. So please register. The link is below. Please go to singyourheartsongsummit.com and get your registrations in. And I do want to also highlight that we have an option for you to upgrade. So you can upgrade your ticket and be included in our Embellished Journal Sparkle Workshop. And so all the details are available at this link here, tinyurl.com/heartsongjournal. So please join in the fun. This is going to be a very interactive workshop led by Chris Dyer, where you get to design your own journal with Swarovski crystals, laser engraved with your own name. So we invite you to join us and upgrade your ticket to be part of that event. So thank you once again, Carol. We will see you soon.
Okay. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Carol,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Yay!
Woo! All right. So I think we have 6 more spotlights to go. And then,
Wow.
yeah. So we have an incredible roster, as you have all seen from the speaker spotlights, and we still have 6 more to go. And so stay tuned. Please be patient with us as we put this together, and go ahead and register for the summit today.
See you there.
See you there.